Good morning and welcome to our daily Devo for Saturday morning, June the 20th. The title of today's devotion is A Resurrection from the Death of Pride. And we are obviously still continuing on with Nebuchadnezzar's story here. Daniel 4, verses 34 and 36. At the end of that time, Nebuchadnezzar, raised my eyes toward heaven, and my sanity was restored. Then I praised the Most High. I honored and glorified him who lives forever. His dominion is an eternal dominion. His kingdom endures from generation to generation. At the same time that my sanity was restored, my honor and splendor were returned to me for the glory of my kingdom. My advisers and nobles sought me out, and I was restored to my throne and became even greater than before. Pride leads to death, to breakdown, to loss of humanity. But if you let it humble you rather than embitter you, and turn to God instead of living for your own glory, then the death of your pride can lead to a resurrection. You can emerge finally, fully human, with a tender heart instead of a hard heart. Something like this happened to Nebuchadnezzar when he raised his eyes towards heaven to look to God. The result was more than the restoration of his sanity. He had become greater than before, verse 36. This is a deep pattern of grace, which we see supremely in Jesus. Our hearts say, I will ascend, I will be as the Most High for my own sake. But Jesus said, I will descend, I will go low for their sakes. He became human and went to the cross to die for our sins, Philippians 2, 4 through 10. Jesus lost all power and served in order to save us. He died, but that led to redemption and resurrection. So, if like Nebuchadnezzar and Jesus, you fall into great weakness, but say, Father, into your hands I commit my spirit, Luke 23:46, there will be growth, there will be a change, there will be a resurrection. That's the only way to get ourselves free from pride. Pride is a human thing, it's not an unusual thing at all. Athletes have it, scholars have it, rich people have it. Just this pride of who I am and what I've accomplished all on my own kind of thing. There are pastors that serve in mega churches that have that same attitude about themselves because look at me, look at how big of a church I have, how many people are coming to see me, how many people are buying my books. I can remember back in the early days of coming into the ministry, and if you were with a group of other pastors, even if you didn't know them, the conversation always came back to, so how many you running on a Sunday? Like that made a difference. Like that was the most important thing in a pastor's ministry was how many people was he drawing into the church. That's pride. You want to be able to say people pastors who ask that question had at the base of it, I want you to know, because I want you to ask me the question back. I want you to know how many people come to hear me preach. And it's it's ugly is what it is. It's definitely based on pride. And what we need to do is to take a look, step back, take a look. Where am I boasting? What is there going on in my life that I take credit for? and I'm perceived as being boastful, or even if not perceived by others, I'm catching that in my own thinking and in my own heart to say, hey, I'm I'm good, man. This is all because of my style and my abilities and my giftings and all that kind of thing. And if we're not careful, we get some punishment that, like Nebuchadnezzar had, we get set back. Um, the Lord will not share His glory with another. Simple as that. And if we approach things as though this is our ability, this is who we are, the Lord is not going to is not going to be pleased with that. Not at all. So He may need, as He did with Nebuchadnezzar, um, do some disciplining. And He always gets what He wants when He disciplines, not in a painful way, but in a way that teaches us a lesson, which is, I think, for many of us, what parents used to threaten. I'm going to teach you a lesson, boy. Taking you out to the woodshed in the back. Um, and we find out in that discipline time that we made a big mistake. And the Lord lovingly and graciously frees us through His discipline from that sense of self pride and self aggrandizement and the sense of judging others by my own standard kind of thing. We need to be aware of those. That verse in Psalm, I believe it's 139 toward the end, Lord, search me. Search my heart and see if there is a wicked way in there. And if there is, please I'm doing the Don Kidd translation now. If you see within me something that should not be there, please correct me. Please discipline me. I do not want to shame you. I do not want to be in competition with you. Adam and Eve made that mistake. And that was a horrible event that they pulled, listening to the lies of Satan, that not only ruined them personally, but right from that point on, one sinful thing after another happens as they post blame to each other, to Satan, all of those different things. They have two sons, one kills the other. They get driven out of the garden. They lose so much in believing that they can be equal with God, and we will too, if we're not careful at all. But if we will humble ourselves, as Nebuchadnezzar, even he had all that pride, and he has to pay for it. And at the end of that, he receives so much more back. And I like the fact that our author, Tim Keller, put in those last words of Jesus from the cross: Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. In other words, I trust you with who I am, and what I've come here to do. And he says it out loud. People there hear it. What a testimony. And what a blessing for us to have that same kind of attitude when we're struggling, or when we feel it's easy for us humans to begin to have a sense of superiority over others, and that can get us into trouble. So always, again, that verse from Psalm: search me, O Lord, search me. the very depths of who I am. See what might be there that displeases you and is not good for me, so that I might deal with it, so that I might confess it, so that I might rid myself of it with your help. Blessings to you today on this Saturday.